How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Wolf Around. It's good to see you here. This is my first video, and in my first video, I want to show you the secret C++ development environment for Windows. After watching this video, you are going to feel more secure about compiling big open source projects that are written in C or C++. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced developer, setting up a proper C++ development environment is essential for smooth development and fast builds. And in my second video, I'm going to show you the secret C++ development environment for Linux. Stay tuned and let's get started. To run your C++ code, first you need to be able to compile it to the machine code. If you are watching this video, it means that you already know what is a compiler, but let me explain it briefly. A compiler is like a translator. It takes the code you write and translates it into something your computer can understand. To install C++ compiler of Microsoft, aka MSVC, we need to install Visual Studio or build tools for Visual Studio. You may not want to install Visual Studio. Maybe you are focused on continuous integration and automated systems, and you can save your time by only installing build tools. But if you are engaging or interested in game development with Unity or Unreal Engine, I highly recommend for you to install Visual Studio, which comes handy as a free IDE, or you can install it just for its C++ profiler, which is highly useful for monitoring your code's performance. CMake is a build system generator. So, what is a build system generator? Think of CMake as a project manager. It helps organize all your files and tells your build system how to put everything together. Simply I say, CMake generates the scripts which will be used by the build system like MSBuild or Ninja. These scripts contains the information about the source files, header files, and third parties of your C++ project. A build system can work differently in different operating systems. CMake helps you to configure cross-platform C++ projects. Whether you are developing on Windows or Linux, CMake generates the necessary build scripts for each platform, allowing you to focus on coding rather than configuring. MSBuild is a build system which is used for Visual Studio projects. It takes SLN or VCX project files as input and starts compilation. These files I mentioned now are the files generated by CMake, which I'll be showing you in the further section of this video. MSBuild will be installed along with Visual Studio or build tools. You don't need to manually install it. And lastly, let's talk about Ninja. While MSBuild is the native build system for Visual Studio projects, Ninja is faster and perfectly lightweight for large projects that need quick rebuilds. It takes Ninja files as input and starts compilation. I'm going to show you how to install Ninja and use it in the further section of this video. Alright then, let's start setting up our C++ development environment. First, we are going to install Visual Studio or build tools. Let's get to the download page and download their installation managers. First, from top of the page, download Visual Studio's installation manager, and from below of the page, download Build Tools installation manager. Okay, let's see the installation of Build Tools. Don't get confused when you see the name of Visual Studio Installer. This is the name of installation manager. As you can see, we have everything we need. You can choose C++ packages and click install button from bottom right side of the window. But I want to install Visual Studio with game development packages for Unreal Engine. That's why I'm going to close this installer and open the installer for Visual Studio. But you can go the way you want. Everything is up to you. I'm just going to choose C++ development packages and what I need from this menu. And I'm going to click install button from bottom right side of the screen. There will be download and installation operations. When the installation is complete, we are going to create a Hello World project using Visual Studio, just to test everything we did until now. After that, we are going to create a Hello World project using CMake, and we are going to compile it using MSBuild and Ninja, respectively. After dealing with the unnecessary windows, right-click on the project name and add a source file. Name it as main.cpp. And let me start writing our first Hello World code. Now we have printed our first string to the terminal. Everything looks good. And we can start creating our Hello World project with CMake. Let's go to the download page of CMake and download it. Adding CMake to the Windows path is important. Make sure this box checked. After the installation is complete, open a terminal and run CMake. You should see a similar output to this if your installation is successful. Now, we can start creating our Hello World project using CMake. We won't use any code editor or IDE while doing this, because you should be able to compile your code without using any code editor or IDE as a software engineer or a good programmer. I don't say don't use any code editor or IDE. I'm just telling you, when you need to compile your code, you should be able to use the tools I'm going to teach you in this video without using any code editor or IDE. Now I'm going to create main.cpp and CMake list txt file. CMake list txt file is going to contain our Hello World project's CMake configuration. I'm going to write most basic CMake configuration for a Hello World project, but I'm going to explain each line briefly. First, I'm defining minimum CMake version. It means this project cannot be used with lower version of CMake that I defined in this line. And then I'm giving this project a name. Lastly, we are going to add our source files to this CMake project. Since we are going to create an executable, we are going to use add executable command of CMake. First line of this command is project name, and the following lines are consist of source files. In our case, there is only one source file, which is main.cpp. Now, our CMake configuration is complete. We can start generating our build system files using CMake. Open a terminal in the same directory as CMake list txt. Let's run CMake with some arguments that is going to be helpful for the build system we are going to use to compile this project. The G parameter is for the generator, which means if you type Visual Studio 17 2022, CMake is going to create the build system files that is going to compatible with MSBuild. In other words, CMake is going to create a Visual Studio solution project. You can omit it because its default value is Visual Studio, and the B argument is for you to define generated project files output directory. Now, our build system files generated, and let's see the content of it. You see, it's a typical Visual Studio project. Now, we have two options to compile this project. First, provoke in MSBuild using CMake, or run in MSBuild directly. Let's provoke MSBuild using CMake first. We are going to type a simple CMake command. First argument of this command is generated project directory, and the second argument of this command is build type. When building a project, you can compile it in different configurations. For example, release means it's optimized for performance and ready for distribution, while debug is meant for troubleshooting and allows you to step through the code line by line. Here, we are telling CMake to compile the project in release mode. You can compile this project in release or debug. I'm going to compile it in release. Oh, we got an error because I forgot to write hello world code in our main.cpp. Let me write it quickly and compile this project again. Compilation is successful. Now let's go to the output directory of the executable. I am going to open another terminal in this directory and run the executable. Perfect. Everything works as we expected. Now it's time to use MSBuild directly on this Visual Studio solution. Before doing this, we have to add MSBuild to Windows path. To achieve this, we have to find its location. We are going to add that location to Windows path. Now you are seeing the installation directory of Visual Studio on the screen. We are going to open that directory and find MSBuild. Now follow me to find where MSBuild is, and we are going to add its path to the Windows path. To add this path to the Windows path, follow my steps in the video. After adding it to the Windows path, open a terminal and run MSBuild. You should see an output like this. Now we can compile our generated solution project using MSBuild directly. Let's get back to the project folder we created earlier in this video. Let's remove previous compilation by deleting these two folders. Open the terminal in this directory. MSBuild takes SLN or VCX project files as input. First parameter of MSBuild is the solution file, and the second parameter of it is build configuration. I am going to compile this project in release. Compilation is complete. Let's see the result. By running the executable in a terminal. Perfect. Everything works as we expected. Now, it's time for us to install Ninja. and compile this project one more time. Open a browser and search for its name. Go to its download page. Let's download and install it. Now, extract this zip archive to your preferred location. I'm going to extract it in a folder under C drive, and I'm going to add path of that folder to Windows path. Follow the video and do as I do. Now, open the terminal and run Ninja. You should see a similar output to this. Now let's go back to our CMake project folder and open a terminal on it. We are going to write a CMake command that is going to provoke Ninja as our build system when compiling this project. We have to explicitly define the generator type as Ninja, and don't forget to type your project output directory. Let's hit enter and see the result. Oh wait, there is an error. It says it couldn't find any C compiler or C++ compiler. What's wrong with it? We have installed all of them. Don't worry, this is not a problem. Ninja is different than MSBuild, and we have to tell Ninja where our C++ compiler is. To achieve this, we are going to call a script provided by Visual Studio. You can run the scripts from your Start menu. If you run these scripts from your Start menu, they are going to open in a separate terminal, which is not something we want because in that case, we would have had to start everything from beginning. There is a solution for that. Let's get back to the build tools directory and find those scripts location. Since I know its name, I can find it by searching its name. Let's copy this path and go back to the terminal. First type call on the terminal, and then paste the path you copied between double quotes, and at the end of it type vcwars64.bat. Hit enter and call this script on your terminal. Now we have achieved calling that script in our terminal. This script brings the information about C++ build tools, and Ninja can use them right now. Let's run the previous CMake command. And the files for Ninja build system have generated. Now let's type our compilation command and compile our project using Ninja. Compilation is complete. Now let's run the executable. Great, everything as we expected again. Alright, we have come to the end of first section of this video. I have covered most important basics of C++ development that nobody tells you. Now, let's move forward and install some code writing environments like VSCode and CLion. We have already installed Visual Studio at the first part of this video. You can say that C++ development on Windows a little bit rely on it. No harm to install it. I have already shown how to create a project in it. VSCode, best free open source code editor. I'm going to show you how to install it and utilize it for C++ development. CLion, best paid IDE for C++ development. Let me be honest with you, it's my favorite. I'm going to show you how to install it and utilize it. I'm going to download and install VS Code. After the installation, I'm going to show you quickly how to utilize it for our C++ development environment. While waiting for the download, let's clear our project folder. Okay, download is complete. Let's start installation. Don't forget to add VS Code to Windows path. When the installation is complete, launch the VS Code. Go to Extensions tab and install C++ extension pack. When the extension has installed, open our project in VS Code. Right now, our C++ extensions, searching for scripts that I have shown you in the Ninja section of this video. It listed all the options. Choose the 64-bit option that I choose. The CMake tools extension of VS Code started to generate build system files. It is going to name generation output directory as build and use Visual Studio as generator type. You see, it has generated same solution project that we have generated earlier in this video. Now I'm going to open settings of CMake tools extension and set its generator type to Ninja. And let's change its build directory name to MyBuild Ninja. Press Ctrl+Shift+P and type CMake configure. Hit enter and generate this project with Ninja. Now press F7 from your keyboard or click the arrow button bottom side of VS Code window to build and run. We have compiled this project in debug. Now let's change the variant and compile this project in release. Press Ctrl+Shift+P and type CMake select variant. Hit enter and choose release. Now let's get back to the debug and let's test our debugging tools by putting a breakpoint. Run the application and wait for the debugger catch the breakpoint. This is how you can utilize and use VS Code for C++ development. We are going to download CLion and install it. Let's go to the download page of CLion. Download is complete. Let's install it. Make sure this checkbox is checked. When the installation is complete, you have to restart your computer before using CLion. I'm going to restart my computer. I'm going to launch CLion. And open our Hello World project in it. CLion is going to detect our C++ development environment. Now I'm going to show you to configure CLion's CMake profiles quickly. I choose Visual Studio as toolchain. Ninja is default generator type already. I'm setting build directory. And now let's create a build profile for release. Let's compile our code. Let's switch between profiles. And that's it. CLion paid but popular cross-platform IDE for C++ development. You are now set up with everything you need for C++ development on Windows. We've covered everything from compilers to build systems. In the next video, I'll show you how to set up best C++ development environment on Linux. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. And for more tutorials on C++ programming, game development, and more, don't forget to subscribe and join the pack. See you in the next one.